Hi, I'm Nancy, and you're watching my Fibry podcast about knitting, sewing, crocheting, and dyeing yarn, and it's called Along Stony Creek.
The mayflies are scary, but they mean the lake's healthy.
I have the prize box out, and that means it's time to talk about my monthly comment contest. During a month of the current year we are in, which right now is June of 2023, any videos I put up in the month of June that you comment on, including this one, are eligible to be entered, will all be entered to win the possibility of winning a colorway. And this month's colorway is Skateland with a contrasting color of a bright green and a bright pink. And both of these colors and some of these colors fluoresce under black light. In order to be entered in the contest, all you have to do is leave a comment on any video made during that month. So any video put up in the month of June, any video that I put up in the month of June, and the second of the month at 11:59 p.m., I close the comments to new entries, and any comments made after that on that video are no longer eligible. I then go through and I draw a number to pick a video. However many videos I have, I number them chronologically. And then I have a comment picker pick the winner. If you can receive a package from the United States, you can absolutely win this contest. I will send the prize anywhere in the world that can receive a package from the US. I am not responsible for VAT taxes and any other taxes you may have, although I will send it as a gift because that is what it is if you win. I will pay for all the shipping. If you get an email or a message saying you should pay for shipping, or hey, this is Nancy, contact me, it is a message on or a reply to a comment. No, I only announce the winners right here. And I do it starting the first video of the month, the following month. So for May, my winners were Salter Pervesklin 199 and Brooke Chauvelin 5592. I think I said that right. Hang on, I want to make sure that I said that right. 5956, Brooke Chauvelin 5956. Oh, see, I didn't say it right. Welcome or welcome back to Along Stony Creek. As I said, this is my Fibry podcast where I talk about sewing, crochet, primarily knitting, and some yarn dyeing because I am the head yarn dyer behind Stony Creek Yarn, and I do talk about my passion quite a bit. There is a bonus feature up this week. It is a video about, I don't know if it's up yet or if it'll be right up after this, but pretty quick. If you're a yarn dyer, should you sell to a local yarn store? I understand that has a very small reach and didn't really know where to put it or how to do it. Maybe I should start a second channel. Who knows? That sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? Yeah. I am Nancy. I live along the shores of Lake Erie. It's 2 blocks that way, along the shores of Stony Creek, which is indeed spelled correctly. I am across the street from the creek so that I am out of flood zone, and I am out of the 150-year flood zone. It was very important to me when I bought a house down here in the beaches near Monroe. I am North Monroe. I am 28 miles north of Toledo, 28 miles south of Detroit, and 28 miles, long miles, as I like to say, from my 2 adult children, Jean and Zach, who live in Ann Arbor. I live north of Monroe in the beach communities, which were started in the 1920s as a way to get away from Libby Glass and hot Toledo in the summer and hot Detroit in the summer where they were making cars. There used to be a trolley system that came down along here for people, which is kind of cool. And it would drop people off and they would be able to go to their little beach homes. Although mine was not built at that time. Mine was built in the 70s. I live here with 2 of my 4 adult children. Jean and Zach live in Ann Arbor, I swear. Hearn and Gerald, who are both working today. They are on the autism spectrum and they are at a work program this summer at the state park. I often talk about the fact that Gerald, who is almost 19 years old, is about to move out to a group home as a halfway environment to learn how to live on their own. And I am sure that they will be successful because he is very determined to be so. I also live with my golden doodle Zool, my 2 cats, Kit, Kit, and Hope, and my 3 rats, Pip, Pop, and Bear. And when I dye yarn, I do it in a dye studio that is professional and not in my home. It's actually out here. This is my garage dye studio. And the lights are off today because it is a very snoozy, rainy day here in Monroe. And I was going to dye yarn this morning, and I woke up and I said, it feels like a crafty kind of a day. I often work Saturdays and Sundays, so I would have it's Friday today, the 23rd. I have no compunction about taking today off and doing something, a DIY project for myself or for my home that I need to get done. And it's raining, so I can't garden at all, but I do have things to do and deep cleaning inside the house that needs to get done. Yeah. And I wanted to make my podcast. So let's start out today talking about sewing. Last week I announced that I was going to do something I swore I would never do, and people are laughing at me about, including one of my dear friends who I talked to on the phone last night. I am going to quilt some coasters. Now, I have the fabric picked out. I've went through it again. I found all of my fat quarters. I went through everything again this week, and I did decide that these colors would look good in the house, but are not too, they're different enough to be interesting without being clashy. Does that make sense? So this is the top of the coaster. The back of the coaster is going to be in this fabric. I don't know if you can see it, but it's gold and blue flowers, and it's got turquoise and almost a midnight blue in it, and a sky blue, and a little bit of yellow and gold, and it is just the loveliest little fabric. And so I often think I'll be turning them to the back, which makes me want to run a binding around the edge of all of them, which was not the original intent. Do a bias binding. I went to start these this morning. I had my Olfa rotary cutter out. I had my self-healing mat out. I had my iron out. I was ready to rock and roll, and I noticed that the blade on my cutter was just shot. I don't know if it was run through rocks. Somebody else must have used it besides me. It's true that I do blame other people for using my things, but in truth, they actually use my things. So I have to get a new blade for that this weekend, and I have to go to Joann's anyway for the next project I'm going to talk about. So I might as well just make one run to Joann's Fabrics, get my rotary cutter blades, which I thought I had some, but I only have the wavy kind. I can't find my other extras, and it won't kill me if they're misplaced because I can always use a new rotary blade. And I also have some yarn to pick up. I also like to look around all their seasonal stuff, because the spring stuff will be on sale. I buy the seasonal stuff at the end of the season. Like I'll buy my decorations for the 4th of July the day after the 4th. Yeah. Because I like to save a little money. And I don't, I can wait till next season. I have things for now. Actually, I don't really decorate for the 4th of July or Independence Day. I don't know why. I don't light off anything. It's pretty quiet around here. I mean, it's not quiet around here, but it's pretty quiet at the house here, which the house does have a name. I figured a house near a beach needs a name, and it's Chill Breeze. My house's name is Chill Breeze. So these are the 3 colors I have decided for the front, and the one I've decided for the back. And now I really want to do a bias binding. I wonder if I have enough of this, or if I even want to do a bias binding in this. Now I have more thinking to do. I'm not going to use a pattern. I'm just going to cut strips that work together, cut the whole thing to the right size, and Bob's your uncle. Sew it and Bob's your uncle. Just as easy a quilting job as possible, seeing it's my first quilting job. And I have been watching YouTube videos, and I think I can do this. I think I can do this. It requires a lot of precision, but I think I can do it. We'll see if my ADHD brain tackles that. The other reason I need to go to Joann Fabrics this weekend is I have found my 3 skeins of Caron Simply Soft in this silver color, which is so cool. It's such a cool gray, it's almost got a taupe tone to it. I said charcoal last week. It is not charcoal gray. It is a very light tone gray. I have 3 skeins of this. Now, what I'm going to do with it is my chair in the living room. I have a chair that I inherited from my dad that I don't want to be ruined, but for some reason my dog thinks is the perfect size and or shape for his butt. And truthfully, he fits in the chair very neatly in a small circle. For a large standard golden doodle, that dog can fit into a folds very neatly. I have a blanket that I got at Home Goods on the chair now to protect it from him. He doesn't really shed, but he's a dog, so he gets dirty on things. And I don't want my dad's old chair to be dirty. I like this chair. It's a womb chair by Herman Miller, and it's a very nice 1950s postmodern piece of furniture. Early 60s, actually, I think it was. So there's a Home Goods blanket on it now, but it's one of those loosely woven things that was so in style about 8 years ago, I'm guessing. And it's starting to come unwoven because it's not what you call expensive fabric. In fact, I think I'm going to cut it up and wash it, cut it up, and make a couple pillows out of it to go with this. This, I'm going to take this and another color, which I have yet to decide on. I was going to go with yellow, but this is such a cool, I was going to go with a warm yellow, a mustard. But this is such a cool toned gray that I want to go with a warmer color. So I thought about a warm yellow. I don't know if I'm married to that idea. I need to go to Joann's and hold it up and look. Now, I get this freak out thing happen when I go to Joann Fabrics about thinking, don't want them to think I've stolen this. No matter how ratty it is, so I'll just take a chunk off of here and wrap it around the crochet hook or something and take it in with me so I can take a look at the color next to other colors. I think that's probably a bit paranoid, but I never want to be accused of walking out of a store with something that is not mine and have to explain it, because I don't even remember where I got this or how long ago I got it, let alone have a receipt for it at this point. I'm going to use a size. I want this fairly loose. I tend to go up in sizes on things. This is a K, size 10, which is a K crochet hook. And for some reason, while I would never use plastic knitting needles, I like a plastic crochet hook with Caron Simply Soft. I do not like this with wool, I found out. But I do like this with Caron Simply Soft. It's just a simple plastic crochet hook. I got it for a couple bucks at Joann's at some point. So I'm going to get the fabric for this, the yarn for this, excuse me, and I'm going to make the initial chain today. But I don't know if you in crochet, it's not really casting on, chaining up. What do you call it when you start a project? There. So I have them together now. The only thing I don't have for this is a project bag, which I could either live with the fact that I don't have a project bag for it and keep it in one spot in my big project basket, or I could make a project bag or order one. I think I'm just going to keep it in the big project basket. Again, this is not supposed to be precious. The dog is going to be sleeping on it. I want something easy, acrylic, that I can just whop in the wash and have it wash up and dry up in the dryer and be just fine with no stress, no strain, no sweat, no pain. And so the 3 skeins of Caron Simply Soft is like, oh, okay, well, there you go. I think I originally got this I think this is so old. I got this when I was first started knitting to make a sweater, and it looks like the day I bought it. And I've been knitting since 2009. Yeah. Or crochet, and I've been crocheting I started crocheting when I was 18, but I crochet backwards. I don't do it anymore. Now I can crochet properly, hooking properly, but for years I did it. I can't even do it the way I did it. That's how weirdly I crocheted. People would look at me like, what are you doing? I don't crochet like that anymore, but I do find it more difficult to crochet the way I am crocheting now. It takes me longer But that's okay because I'm doing it correctly. I'd rather do it correctly and everything turns out looking much nicer. Oh my gosh. I crocheted baby blankets for my kids that were just a joke, but they were made with so much love. Anyway, yarn dyeing. I have a new colorway. I want to quickly talk about it because I have a dog in this fight. This is my colorway for June 2023. I'm going to keep it in the shop, I think, permanently. It is born this way. I have a son who happens to be gay, and tomorrow we are going to the Pride picnic. I can't wait. It's just so much fun every year. I mean, they make it so, for a really small town, they make Pride really fun here. I have to say, Monroe County's Pride picnic is one of the better Pride picnics I've ever been to, and I've been going to Pride picnics for a very long time now. And so this is born this way. This is it unreskein. This is it reskein. And so this will be going into the shop tomorrow, and it will be in the shop permanently. I am not going to only have it be a June thing. It is not. I didn't want to do something to just take advantage of LGBTQ plus people because I hate that. But because I have a child and that one of my children is gay, they asked me to make an LGBTQ plus flag colorway, and they asked that 10% of the profits go to the Trevor Project. So I will do that. I also keep honest on the 3rd of every month. If I have sold anything that has a donation involved with it, I put it up on Instagram under my business, Stony Creek Yarn. No E in Stony. So this is the new colorway. I only really have 4 skeins. They're going in the shop tomorrow, but we'll see how they do. I'm very excited. I think this is a really beautiful colorway, and it uses different colors underneath than Skateland does. So I saved the best, most frustrating blot for last. The first thing I need to talk about is what is currently living in my maybe crafted sheepsy bag. I call it my sheepsy bag. It's got sheepsies on it. It's not my only sheep bag, but it's one of my favorites. I discussed this in my should you be selling to yarn stores video too. All right, I am going to make it clear that I'm not going to give any information about this pattern that Stephen West has not already placed on the internet. This is my twists and turns knit along Stephen West shawl. As you can see, I stopped at clue 1. And I put it down for a very long time. I mean, it was in what I call deep hibernation. I don't know why I got intimidated by knitting through the back loop or cables, or I don't know what it was. Something intimidated me about the next move, but the more I see of this shawl, the more I want this in my wardrobe. It's not just the process of knitting a Stephen West shawl, which is something I normally very much enjoy. It is the product at the end that I am looking for. Look, it looks like a little skirt. The problem is on the left side, this is as you're facing the shawl, this is the left bind off side. Stephen says in his video to pick up 3 stitches, knit and knit. I have picked up those 3 stitches. I have picked up all the stitches along here, made ones like I was supposed to, and it's making it, and the way the short rows I'm doing it is making it thicker at the top than the bottom, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be the other way. I have watched Stephen's video a lot. I've read the instructions a lot. I have looked for errata. I have been on Ravelry looking in project notes. I'm having a terrible time. So if you've knit this and you have any ideas to help me, please get in touch with me. Please, you can email me at nancy@stonycreekyarn.com. That's Nancy at Stony, STONY, creekyarn.com. I am ready to take this to Laura, who owns my local yarn store, and just start crying and saying, please help me. I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw it. And I want it. I really want this shawl. And I really want to get into knitting this next color. The first color, the one that goes on the side, will be my main color. But then my super contrasty color is this green, this really jewel tone green that goes with this jewel tone topaz and this jewel tone almost amethyst. Not quite, more like a mauve, whatever, pink, not even, I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's not a colorway I keep. It's just one I did for the shawl. I just am at a complete and utter loss about what I am doing wrong when I pick up these stitches, right along this edge. I'm going the right direction according to the pattern on the right side. I'm very frustrated. So any advice, anything would be helpful. Because I love this, and I want, and when I was knitting, when I picked up and knit the garter ridges and then was doing what I thought were these short rows properly, I really enjoyed it. It was a really fun and engaging knit that I wanted to get to the next section of. I wanted to do those purls through the back loop. I wanted to. And then to be stopped because I just know that I'm doing it wrong and not being able to figure it out. And this is the first time I've had a pattern that I have put down because I just can't figure out what's coming next. And I've knit things that are much more complicated with this, with cables. But for some reason, this is got me flummoxed. And again, I mean, I want this shawl. I want the finished product. I want to knit another one when I'm done with this. I enjoyed knitting this first part so much, although it's such a unique knit that I'm not sure that would work. It's everything I like in a shawl. It's interesting. It's unusual. It's architectural. It is everything I want. It is going to be warm. All of these flunkety-flunkities make it warm. So yeah, anything. I'm at the point of, I'm not at the point of tears yet, but I can absolutely see if I try it again and can't figure it out, the tears and throwing of the yarn bag may happen. And I don't, that is just a useless waste of emotions that I don't want to be a part of. So I need to figure this out. What's next up on my needles? I am continuing to work on my turquoise. I have no finished objects this week. I don't know if I said that. I did not say that. Not a one. I didn't finish anything. I made a video about selling to a local yarn store, which took more time than I thought because there was a lot to cover. And then I ended up not covering everything because that would have been 5 hours long. And then I did a lot of dyeing this week. So I didn't get as much knitting time as possible. But again, I'm sort of, on cool days, I'm sort of dyeing as much as I possibly can so that I can take the really hot days and do something else. Oh, and there will be a shop update this week. So I am past the boobs down into the body. And I realized that I'm on a medication that has made me gain weight, and I'm coming off it now, and the weight is starting to move in the right direction, but this is going to be a bit tight. So I'm not in a tearing hurry to finish it, to the point where I really do think I'm going to make 3/4 length sleeves for it. I've got the yarn. I mean, I've just cracked into the second, and there is a Cumulus long sleeve t-shirt now, Cumulus shirt. This is by Petite Knit. I should say that. I really should. This is just a turquoise colorway that I made up in a semi-solid dyeing fit of, and it's not the final version of my turquoise. It's a little different, but not terribly different. And I have one more skein of yarn after this, and I just, like I said, just cracked into the skein. I mean, I just cracked into the skein yesterday. So, yeah, I like it's. I don't know if you can tell. It's got stellina. I wanted sparkle, which means yes, I am forever washing this by hand in cool water, like I do with all my knits. And I really like this particular pattern. Now I'm knitting this on size 4 needles, which are larger than the called for size, because I can get. I'm either really, really baking hot or I'm super freezing cold. There's nothing in the middle. Never anything in the middle. When I'm 5 pounds less than I am now, and I'm cold all the time, but neither here nor there. So I think I'm going to do 3/4 sleeves on this, or bracelet length sleeves on it. and then finish them with an I-cord edging. And I think I will do the I-cord around the neckline, which I did not do last time on my other Cumulus t-shirt. Did I say shawl? I think I was saying shawl all along, and I mean t-shirt. Now, I did want this for a camping trip this summer I was taking with my bestie, one of my two besties, who lives in Texas, who I love dearly. But she was in an accident in her Class A RV and is not going to be able to go camping with me this summer and have large bonfires and possibly dance around large bonfires. I am very sad about that. It's something I really love doing with this particular friend of mine. We have more fun when we're together. We just get we have a lot of fun when we're together. We really do. And I'm more worried. I'm sad that we're not going camping. I am incredibly worried because she did get pretty seriously injured. And their camper, the guy was insured that hit them, and it was a fault state. He hit them to the camper. They were going 55 miles an hour in a construction zone, and the guy hit them at 75 miles an hour and said they just came out of nowhere, and they'd just been traveling down the road, and it's $30,000 worth of damage. Yikes. 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 The guy that hit him was pretty young too, so he wasn't a teenager, but I just, that can affect your life for a very long time. So it was just a sucky thing all the way around. Although he was fine, the guy that hit him was fine, and his car is fine. And absolutely totaled the Jeep that they were pulling on the back. Neither here nor there. But so I can't go camping this summer. So I no longer have a deadline for this t-shirt, except that I cannot start a new sweater, and I dearly want to start. There's a sweater I really, 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 really want to start. And I can't remember the name of what I want to knit right now. It's the Bubblegum sweater by Veronica Lindberg. I cannot say Lindberg properly with a Swedish accent. It's in her book Knit This, which I do want to talk about next week. I'm going to get the book. I have the book, and I'm going to bring it up on my screen and just show you some of the beautiful pictures that are in it and talk about some of the instructions she gives without giving away any of the patterns. I really want to review that book. I really do. I like to review books I like, and I very much like that book. The Bubblegum sweater by Veronica Lindberg. My sister says it's pronounced. My sister, who speaks fluent Swedish, says it's pronounced Lindberg. I can't do it. There's some thing at the end that I can't make my voice and throat do. Next up on the needles, there are 3 more projects. One of my projects, my Bad Ray Speckle Fade, until I switch colors again. I'm going to switch colors next day or so. Then there'll be something to see. I haven't decided which of the colors is next. Living in my... This is why I don't let my cats... My cat was up here in my face before I did this. This is why I don't let my cats in the dye studio. She fluffed me. She came up, rubbed on me, and foofed me. Just all her fur. Foof. There you go, Mom. Here you go. Love you. In this little bag created by Laura of Nitpicking and Hooked, my local yarn store. It does not have a pattern for this, by the way. There is no pattern for this. She's going to see what she can do. I love it because it stands up on its own. Is a mitt. I was knitting these 2 at a time. But I decided, because of a picnic this week, and I like to knit in public, that it would be a good week to just knit 1 at a time on this little mitt. It's just a mitt to go along with my friend's Crunchy Frog hat. It's a Crunchy Frog mitt, and I'm just going to knit up the fingers. And I have quite a bit of yarn left, actually. There's I don't know, maybe that's 20 grams. I should take it out and weigh it. I'm guessing about 20 grams. I could make full mittens out of them. Then I'd be worried that I wouldn't have enough to finish the thumbs. I'm just going to do really tall mitts with a really thick rib border. I mean, I could have gotten fancy with them. I just wanted basic mitts to go with the hat. And I didn't even make them matchy with a hat by doing a moss stitch on them or anything. I decided that was just not necessary. I just wanted a very very simple pair of mitts. I can speak, I promise. Ooh. Remember how I said I was going to get second sock syndrome? Suck a one, suck a two. Suck it to me. I have started my second sock. I cast on 20 stitches on the end of the, actually I cast on 5 on each toe, and it's like, it's 10, Nancy, it's 10. It's, you do 60 stitches, you do 10, you increase 10 on each side. It's 60 stitches all the way around, like a doofus. 10 on each side, so it's 10 over here, 10 over here, you know, total of 60 stitches, if that makes sense. I have most of this skein sitting here with, I mean, this is 50 grams. This was 50 grams, still pretty close to 50 grams because I'm only to here and I have a ways to go, but I am fairly confident because I'm enjoying the knit. I enjoy knitting socks. I'm comfortable traveling knitting socks, going places knitting socks. Like I said, I have a picnic this weekend. I'm going to, if it's nice Sunday, although it's not supposed to be nice Sunday, I can go and knit outside down by the beach. So they will get worked on this week for sure. They are living in my calico bush, cute little French bag, which is not the ideal bag for socks, I must say, but it was available for use. So I grabbed it, stuck the sock in there because I wanted to keep the other sock with it. I can see myself losing a sock in the process of knitting 2 socks. If I'm knitting 2 and not 2 at a time, I can see myself putting a sock somewhere. You just put it there where you're not going to forget about it. It's going to be right there. You're going to remember it's there. You remember that? Remember that? Where is it? That's what happens when I put my stuff someplace. I will never lose it or forget about it. It's just a joke. It's just become a running joke. This is my last project, and this is the Mini Skein Infinity Scarf by Julianne Cole. I started this week and a couple of days ago. I know it was in the last podcast. I don't know how far I was into it. I think I was still on the Orchids colorway. I have since finished my Orchids colorway. I didn't finish every tiny little itty bitty bit up. I'm going to magic knot it together and do a magic ball and not make it into something at some point. But I am now on the Cake Pops colorway, and I am almost through Cake Pops. I probably have 10 grams left of Cake Pops. And what I'm doing with this now, I'm finding, is I'm starting to second guess myself, because this yarn down here, this is Pajama Party Orchids and Cake Pops. I only had 10 grams of Pajama Party, and I wasn't even going to use it, but it went so well with some of the other colors I was picking that I decided to use it. So now I'm second guessing myself as I've got this much left. I mean, is this going to overwhelm the Pajama Party? Well, the Pajama Party is quite a bit darker, so it's probably not. And I need to stop doing that. I just need to knit till the skein is gone. End of story. Temporarily living in this project bag, and you know what I need to do? Right now, right here, right in front of your very eyes. The sock goes in there. The sock is now in the size appropriate project bag, and the Infinity Scarf is going into what will be a size appropriate project bag as it grows. Now, as for picking the next color, I have 3 of these bags, and this is the empties one. Unorganized mini stash. Some's not even minis. I mean, in some cases I have almost a whole skein of yarn in here. That's a 50 gram skein. I got the other one somewhere. I'm going to make socks out of it, but I was going to knit a sample up with that first. So I don't know what color to pick next. I'm sort of leaning this way, but this was something, this was I do something called yarn mops, and the idea comes from Rebecca at Chemnitz, and I did a little short on it. Where if I've got extra dye, I just toss a little mini skein in, or I use the skein to wipe up my spills or to wipe my hands on. And this was just a skein I tossed in to sop up some extra dye, and I'm thinking about putting this in more of a purple before knitting it, in which case that may take it out of the running for that. Plus, that's all variegated. This is all variegated, and this is not. So anyway, I have a whole bag of decisions to make in here. Oh, I know what could go in there next. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. It doesn't be perfect. I don't expect it to be matchy. I want it to be offbeat and a little bit funky, but I don't want it to not have a sort of a pinky, purpley blue vibe that goes with these other colorways. I also don't want to stick in a skein of something that's completely the antithesis of what I've been getting going on so far. I am really loving this colorway. I'm knitting with it and I'm like, which color's next? What's next? Is it going to be purple with a bit of pink, pink with a bit of purple? Is it going to be green? Is the green going to have a bit of orange next to it? I mean, it's just been so much fun to knit up. Orchids wasn't as much fun because I'd already knit with it. I already knew what to expect, but Cake Pops was a brand new to me knit of my colorways. So I was having fun, and I'm still having fun. I'll have 10 more, maybe 8 more grams of fun, and then I will move on to something else. Probably this. I don't know. Oopsie, this one came undone. Come undone. I'm not. Too much like orchids, right? Right. I think. I don't know. I do not know, and I will figure it out. I am not going to figure it out. The way I've been going about this is finishing my color and then going to get the next color. I have not planned this out. I'm usually a super planner. I am somebody who makes list after list after list. I have lists here of everything I have to photograph for tomorrow. List lady. And everything's prepared and thought about. Nothing is left to chance, usually. And then I usually forget the one important thing. I've done that before. In this case, I am just literally finishing one color and grabbing and going through here for the next. And this is the bag that's upstairs. The other two bags are downstairs in the furnace room, and there they shall stay with my other stash that I have stored. So I am not overwhelmed, because this is overwhelming enough. This big pile of yarn is pretty freaking overwhelming. Well, there's a colorway, but that one is new, and that might go to a store. See, big decisions. I don't know. I haven't decided. I'll make a decision. So that is all the yarny news that is fit to print. There will be a shop update tomorrow. I think I already said that. I'll get this edited today, and then when it stops raining later, I'm going to go out and pick all the mulberries and have a lovely dessert of a pie tonight. Maybe a small pie with mulberries to celebrate my kids' first week at their summer jobs, because it is now Friday. Have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you for joining me. I really, truly, honestly appreciate you and coming to visit me along Stony Creek.